WCMH.
Quan Finn, obviously an athletic guy, likes to run the football, pretty good at passing too. What have you seen from him on film? What kind of challenges does he present to you guys?
Yeah, I think he can run it any time he wants to, you know. Not as much designed quarterback run. I think we have to be ready for that. Makes a lot of plays with his feet in scrambling situations. I mean, that's when we really need to be aware of what he can do. But he has all the tools, makes all the throws, very, very capable.
We'll go second row right. Bill Landis, Rivals.
Jim, have you always been comfortable zero blitzing, and how important is it to show an offense that you're willing to do that?
I mean, you become. I mean, if that's your philosophy, and it is mine, because I know it just puts a lot of pressure on the offense to execute. And when you have it in your arsenal, they have to plan for it. You know, there's risk reward to it. I've become more comfortable with it throughout my career because, you know, I know it's important to the structure of your defense to have that be something that is always there where you can get after someone. It changes the game. Your players believe in it. You know, you're talking about even if they get the ball off, making a lot of one-on-one tackles. But, you know, there's a lot of timing to it, and it's a practice, you know, where everybody kind of feels in sync. That if the ball does get out, it's that quick, make a tackle. So it's definitely part of my philosophy, and I guess you could say I've grown to it over the years.
Front row right. Tim May, Letterman Row.
Yeah, I want to get your reaction, Jim. There were two plays in that game that really stood out, and Bill just touched on one of them. The offensive linemen have set their feet, and then y'all had both linebackers step up into the A gaps. Are you sitting there watching that happen, going, okay, this is what you're looking for? I mean, you know what I mean? Just kind of what's your reaction to a play like that?
Yeah, you know, when it all comes together, it's a beautiful thing to watch, and you know, I don't really get to enjoy it in that moment as much as maybe the next day because I'm trying to get ahead. You know, I'm already thinking ahead, but you know, it is a little bit like you know, watching a plan come together and all the parts that go with it, and you know, because you call something, but the offense can really do anything they want, and then you know, when it works, it's just you know, a lot of hard work, a lot of thinking, planning, you know, 10,000 hours kind of go into that one play. Yeah, and you know, go into that one play. So when it comes together, it's satisfying, but I don't get that much time to enjoy it, really. Yeah.
You don't go yippee.
No, yeah, right. And there's no yippee.
But
No.
the flip side of that, my call, you know, 4th and 1, they're in midfield, they're going for it. I mean, is there a chance to stay in the game, whatever? He goes across the guard's face and then turns up and gets the, you know what I mean? That's an effort play, right? I mean, describe the two emotions you get from watching those two different plays.
Yeah, that is definitely a well, he's a talented guy, but it's a effort and more of a habit. You know, it's really in those critical situations. Unless you know you've dialed up something perfect, you fall back to your training and your habits, and that's like, you know, we've been talking about Mike Hall since I've got here, and he's just been doing that over and over again. So when it happens in a game, you're not surprised because that's just the way he practices and plays.
Thank you. Yeah. Front row middle, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Another Mike Hall question. His quickness off the ball, how rare is that? And when did you really start to think this guy is something special, or potentially something special?
I thought it the first time I saw him go full speed against talented offensive linemen, because you're right, it is rare, that first step, is very rare. There are a lot of talented guys, a lot of strong guys, a lot of athletic guys, but the ability to get off the ball, it's a split-second thing, and it's just something that some guys have. He has it.
Three of his teammates described him as, or at least compared him to Aaron Donald. I don't know what you think of that. Can you comment on that? And also to the fact that as well as you guys have played, there haven't been any turnovers. Is that an issue, concern, not a concern for you?
I think where Mike goes is, he has tremendous potential. He earns everything he gets. I think, the sky's the limit in terms of where he can end up. Turnovers, takeaways, they're one part of the metric to being successful on defense. I think they come as guys get more comfortable in the system, and when you're more comfortable and you can see, the forest through the trees, and you're able to take more chances because you feel comfortable in the system. So I don't like it, but am I concerned? Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned about everything all the time. That's just one thing. I think back to I think it was 2012, first year we made a bowl game at Duke, which is great. We got 6 wins, and Duke hadn't made a bowl game in a long time, and then we had to face Clemson and Florida State back-to-back when they were both at the top of their games. I think it's 2012. We had, in those 2 games, defensively, we had 10 takeaways. We also gave up 100 points. So, I mean, it was like, it was we had 10 takeaways and gave up 50 points a game. I mean, how do you do that? So, I mean, takeaways are just they're one part of the metric, but, we review it with the team. We go over our goals. The thing about defense, it's a right now proposition. Either you stop them or you don't. That's the way I look at it. Taking the ball away is one way to stop them, and getting off the field on third down is another way to stop them. Then sometimes the ball ends up in the red zone. Either we did it to ourselves, or sometimes it just gets there through other ways. It doesn't matter. Then it becomes the field goals, and I think we've been doing. That's one area we've been doing very well. So there are a lot of metrics. Takeaways, one of them. We want that to be better.
Fourth row right, Cameron T, The Athletic.
Jim, one more Mike question. Ryan mentioned last week, and it wasn't just about Mike, but just in general, like when players have a good first day, good first game, you have to build on it. You have to come back and have a good week the next week. What about Mike makes it that's not even a concern? That, like, you mentioned how he's a habit player, like some plays he makes their habits. What about him makes it think that, like, this isn't going to be a flash? It's a thing that can consistently go for him.
Yeah, there are some guys that when you watch them in practice, that just go hard every single play. Game, non-game, walk through, it doesn't matter. I think Mike has a lot of that in him, so that's he's always going hard, and that's something that's going to lead his game to higher levels.
Front row middle, Dave Biddle, 24/7 Sports.
You guys are so deep at defensive end, but what are your thoughts about Caden Curry, and do you foresee maybe a bigger role for him going forward this year?
And he's another guy that I noticed from the start when I got here, because he has a tremendous first step, and he's tough, and for his size, he's one of those guys that just can get himself into position to make plays, like just bounces off people, twists, turns, pitches a fit. So, yeah, I think he showed that he can play, and he can definitely be in the mix. He proved himself with step one, getting in there and making plays, and that'll earn him more opportunities.
Overall, as a defense through 2 games, are you happy with the tackling from your defense overall?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it can be better. I thought we had some missed tackles last game. Again, it is a habit. It is totally a habit, and like I said from the beginning, practicing it in non-tackling situations is a whole concept that we've been selling since we got here, and the players, have bought into it. But now it becomes a habit of in practice, putting yourself in position. Yeah, we're not tackling. Are you in position? Where's your mindset? It's like an over and over thing. But I think we've made a good start.
Third row left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Jim, Denzel Burke, he gave up a big play, had a couple penalties. You guys took him out of the game for a while. Just how do you kind of assess the way his season has started, and kind of how do you help him bounce back from that?
Yeah, Denzel's fine. Those guys at corner, they live on an island. It's something that 99.99% of the population could never do. It's a really tough competitive situation. Sometimes you get into a little bit of a slump. You come out, reassess. He went back in and did better. So I think he's on track. Corners are going to have, because when you're in such a high pressure position, you're going to have some ups and downs, and it's really natural. And he's got a great attitude, and we trust him.
How do you feel about the depth behind Denzel and Cam right now?
Well, we'd love to have Jordan back. I think he can really add to that. It is what it is. So I try to not have any feelings around it. That's sometimes okay, this is what it is. So it really doesn't matter how I feel. It is what it is. So we're working with the guys we have, and they're giving us everything that they have, and we're going to keep getting them better.
Front row middle, Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Jim, to follow up on Denzel, when you're, evaluating a rotation and when to take a guy out or whether to keep him in and let him work through stuff, what goes into that, and specifically in Denzel's case, what into that in the second quarter?
Well, a guy struggles on one play, no big deal. You struggle on two plays, and maybe you can just feel, you get a sense and a feel that he's a little bit behind, that's not a good feeling as a player. Like, I know if I ever get into that situation as a play caller where you always feel like you're one step behind, sometimes I'd like to say, hey, can we take a break here? Anybody else come in? But I can't, right? So I got to kind of call my way out of it. But when you have a player, you just see, you say, hey, man, he just seems a step behind, a little off, That's kind of a thing as coaches. That's our job, to kind of get him out, reassess, get him back in, so he can do it.
He was somebody who was banged up in camp. Has that had any carryover effect?
Well, it doesn't help, right? Repetitions stack on top of each other, and repetitions against quality opponents stack on top of each other. And when you miss a lot of time against our offense, those are certainly repetitions that can elevate your playing performance. So yeah, it doesn't help.
Second row left, Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
I know you said you didn't, big fan of rotating, but you've done it at that one position with Cody and Steele. What have you liked about their two skill sets and how they maybe complement each other?
Yeah, I think that, Steele is athletic, Cody has a good physical presence and, experience, and a very, Cody has a very stable mindset that I think the rest of the team picks up on. He can handle calls, checks, and just he brings that presence to the defense. So I like the fact that he's in that mix, and we got three guys really who can play right there.
Just for the sake of, how do you feel about the depth behind those three guys, especially with a guy like C.J. Hicks? How's he kind of coming?
Man, C.J.'s got great talent, a great attitude. He's young, so it's hard. Like when you get to the season and you get past training camp, and even halfway through training camp, you've made your decisions, and then you got to start getting those guys reps. So young guys, it's hard to get him quality reps in practice. I think he's going to have a bright career, but it's hard to get him in the mix right now.
Got time for just a few more. Where are we going here? Fourth row, middle, Tony Girdman, Buckeye Huddle.
Jim, are you surprised at all that you started rotating Cody? Like, did you set out to do that this season?
Yeah, Cody was hurt, right? So didn't get much of a chance to evaluate him, but you could tell by his presence in the meeting room and the respect the other players had. I had hoped that he would be able to show during fall camp to be a guy who was going to merit a lot of playing time, and he did. He's really stepped up.
And then your assessment of Tommy as a leader for the defense.
Yeah, it's great. Tommy is tough, focused, driven. Has the respect of the defense and continues to improve.
Second row middle, Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
What are your thoughts on that bend but don't break moniker for a defense? And can it be a valuable thing? And is it only relative to, I guess, the quality of the offenses you're playing?
I don't like it. I don't like that. I would never call a defense that I was associated with that. It's like I said, to me, it's a right now proposition. We go on the field. I go on the field with the mindset every time of getting the ball back to our offense as quickly as possible. So I never think about bending but not breaking. It's tough to even switch into that mindset when we go up, we have a lead, or you put some guys in the game. I'm still always chirping to go out there and hold the line and stop them right now. It's a habit. It's a way of thinking. So, I don't like that term.
Going kind of building off of what Bill asked you earlier about the blitzing, is there a way, just as a philosophy, that the more you're blitzing and maybe being more creative and aggressive across the field at many positions, does it, you think, change the mindset on those plays where you're not blitzing? Does it bring, you understand what I'm saying? Is there a connectivity between that?
Mm-hmm. I think your defense starts to believe in making plays, and your defense starts to believe in playing offense on defense, and that no matter what the situation is, you can set them back, get the offense behind the chains, create an advantage. So, yes, when you start doing that, blitzing, creativity, taking some chances, you make some plays, then I think the guys, they don't really think when they're out there, oh, we're blitzing, we're not blitzing. It's just a mindset that you're trying to develop on the defense and that they're confident that they can do that.
Great. Coach, thank you very much. Thanks, Coach. Folks, we have about 40 minutes before CJ's available. He'll be in here